up and landing 13 left if that's available.
Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, Palm Springs Tower, squawk 6250.
6250.
Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, Palm Springs altimeters 2985, radar contact about 10 miles west of the Palm Springs VOR. Presently landing runway 31, so requesting straight in for 13.
If that's available, please.
Ever departure of Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, make straight in runway 13 left and clear to land. Wind is 0905.
Clear to land, runway 3 left, Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, thanks.
Palm Springs clearance, Pilots 4658 is type PC tunnel slam call request clearance to Vegas S file.
Pilots 4658, Palm Springs clearance. Good afternoon. Unable to give you S file, and I'll be full route standby. Pilots 4658 is cleared to the Las Vegas airport via Flight Cathedral 1 departure procedure to Palm Springs, Victor 370 to 29 Palms, Victor 538, Cresso, join the Cresso 3 arrival. Maintain 7,000, check flight level 2405 minutes after departure, departure frequency 126.7, squawk 6316.
Pilots 4658 is cleared to Vegas via Cathedral 1, Palm Springs, Victor 37029, Palms, Victor 538, Cresso 3, initially climb 7 plus expect 025, departure 167, squawk 62 plus switching side.
Pilots 4658, free baggage correct. Tango D Mike, taxi to the ground via Echo and frequency.
Fixing to the ramp via Echo, remaining on this frequency, Papa Hotel Tango India Mike.
Ontario Tower, Cessna 237 Charlie Alpha, approximately 4 miles to the west, inbound to land.
Number 237, Charlie Alpha, Roger, inner left, traffic, left downwind, runway 26 left, report base.
Enter left downwind 26 left, report your base, 237 Charlie Alpha.
Charlie Tower, United 242, on the visual for 20 right, returning for right base departure.
United 242, John Wayne Tower, runway 20 right, clear to land, wind 170.3.
Clear to land, 20 right, United.
Here 520 Yankee Kilo, Palomar Tower, runway 24, clear to land, wind 210 at 1. Number 237, Charlie Alpha, runway 26 left, clear to land.
Left clear to land, 7 Charlie Alpha.
Palm Springs ground Pilots 4658 is trying to weather going for taxi.
Pilots 4658, Palm Springs ground, runway 31 right, taxi via Echo and Bravo.
Trail right via Echo Bravo 465.
Riverside Tower, good morning, November 2903 Alpha with you on the ILS.
Number 2903 Alpha, Riverside Tower, good afternoon. Runway 900 clear low approach, report miss.
November 2903 Alpha, low approach, runway 9, next report.
Palm Springs Tower Pilots 4658 ready to go trail right at Bravo.
Pilots 4658, Palm Springs Tower, runway 31 right, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff trail right Pilots 465.
Here's our Yankee Kilo, Roger, taxi into the ramp via Alpha. Pilots 4658, contact SoCal departure.
Contact departure 465.
Cessna 7 Charlie Alpha is clearly active, taxi to the GA parking place.
Number 7 Charlie Alpha, and on this frequency, taxi into the south ramp via Sierra.
South ramp via Sierra with you, 7 Charlie Alpha, thanks.
November 2903 Alpha going around.
Number 03 Alpha, confirm going around or going missed?
November 2903 Alpha going missing.
Number 03 Alpha, Roger, execute the published missed approach procedure.
Flying published mid-approach procedure. November 2903.
Piper 2903 Alpha, contact SoCal departure.
Contact departure, 03 Alpha.
Number 03 Alpha, departure frequency 135.4.
135.4 for departure. November 2903.
Ontario Tower, November 516 Delta Mike, inbound ILS 26 left. Or 516 Delta Mike, Ontario Tower. Good afternoon, Ontario. Wind is calm. Runway 26 left, clear to land.
26 left, clear to land, 6 on line. Ontario Tower, November 36. Correction, 516 Delta Mike, clear the active at uniform, taxiing to the south apron.
Number 6 Delta Mike, Roger, taxi on south ramp via Sierra, remain on this frequency.
Via Sierra on this frequency, 6 Delta.
Riverside Tower, Riverside route, November 2903 Alpha, in Alpha request taxi to the transient departure.
Number 2903 Alpha Riverside ground. In the future, don't switch to the ground frequency unless you're told to do so. Should stay with tower, exiting the runway all the way to the whole stroke point. Stay on this frequency for now. Taxi to the ramp via Alpha.
Taxi to ramp via Alpha. Rocket. Return to via Alpha.
Runway clear. Johnny clearance. November 6th. Like Cherokee. I would like to attempt the I-4 rate.
Cherry 76 Charlie Mike Jolly clearance. Good evening. Good luck on the I-4 destination. Will be, let's go, Kilo Oscar X-ray Romeo.
That's Kilo Oscar X-ray Romeo. 620 Mike.
Yes, sir. Good luck.
I'm going to sign off and collect some information for this destination. I'll sign back in. Is that okay?
Absolutely. Just report when you're back with the I-4. And how long do you think it'll be? It's not going to be more than an hour, is it?
No. I have to file and get some charts and plates.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'll still be here, so it shouldn't be a problem. And we'll look for your flight plan to come through. Which one is that?
Las Vegas Tower Plus 4658 visual 1 on the right 4500.
Plus 4658 Las Vegas Tower, runway 19 right, clear to land, wind 1807.
Clear to land 1 right 465.
Plus 658 exit right, taxi into the ramp via hotel, remain on this frequency today.
Exit right, right via hotel, right frequency 58
Ground number 95 for Whiskey Alpha's Hyper Comanche PH or slide Alpha. Like taxi to the active VFR East departure with weather.
Calling Long Beach ground, need you to verify your call sign, please.
Sorry about that. 916 Whiskey Alpha, November 916 Whiskey Alpha.
Comanche 9016 Whiskey Alpha, Long Beach ground, roger. And just confirm VFR eastbound.
Eastbound and the east ramp just south of runway
Comanche 9016 Whiskey Alpha, roger, runway 26 right, taxi via Kilo.
25. Okay, 25 right via Kilo, 916 Whiskey Alpha. Long Beach Tower, November 916 Whiskey Alpha, holding short of 25 right Kilo, ready for departure VFR east.
We're 916 Whiskey Alpha, Long Beach Tower, runway 25 right, clear for takeoff, right downwind departure, move.
Clear for takeoff 25 right, right downwind departure 6 Whiskey Alpha. Good day, Palm Springs, ground scanning Hotel Tango. East Rev, India, close traffic, 31 right.
Papa Hotel Tango tonight, Palm Springs ground, say again aircraft type.
Gray Cessna Sky.
Skyline Tango, you might thank you, runway 31 right, taxi via Echo and Bravo.
Echo and Bravo, 31 right.
We're center 791 Juliet, towards ground left.
Okay, Sky 791, we see there's no clearance delivery with this field, so would we get our departure instructions with tower or with ground?
Always go with the lowest, so we'll start with ground. Just say your intentions.
Okay, Sky 791 Juliet, type Cessna 172 on the south angles with the numbers requesting VFR advisories to
Number 791 Juliet, roger, departure frequency 134.9er, squawk 2061.
1249, that's 2061. So
Got 991 Juliet, read back is correct, are you ready to taxi now?
in a couple of minutes, just go to Sky 791 Juliet, south angles.
Sky 791 Juliet, roger, runway 29 right, taxi via hotel, correction, taxi via Alpha in Juliet.
29 right taxi by Alpha and Juliet, Sky 791.
Palm Springs Tower, scanning Papa Hotel Tango. Mike is holding short runway 31 right, Bravo, and ready for departure, close traffic.
Hey everyone, it's time for the I-8 rating on PilotEdge. Welcome, Scotty, good to see you. Tim, yeah, here I am. Hope you're doing well. So yeah, the I-8 rating, again, I've got some significant free time this week to do some flying. And again, I'd like to pass for all the I ratings, before Christmas. So I'm just make the most out of the time that I have. So here we are at Catalina Simcel. Hello, welcome. At Catalina Island, and we are going to fly to San Diego today. It's going to be, again, a very scenic flight, at least when we look out the rear window once we departed from Catalina Airport. We are going to cross the ocean again, join Victor 23, and go down south to San Diego to fly, execute the localizer approach, a non-precision approach into runway 27 of San Diego, Limburg, which is going to be pretty cool. Yeah, and again, stuff that we still practiced but still can improve on. Again, I was rewatching or I was watching my past stream of yesterday, or no, I believe it was Sunday, my I-7 rating, and again noticed that I forgot to check my altimeter setting once I reached the final approach fix. Yeah, even though I mentioned it, I think even a few minutes before. So, yeah, that's just really silly me. Somehow I struggle with just reminding myself to do things, which is a very, very crucial weakness, because as a pilot, IFR pilot especially, your perspective memory skills are just key for a successful safe flight. So yeah, I guess I just need 60 episodes or so just to get into the feel of flying IFR. So yeah, still stuff that I need to work on. So perhaps today then I will remember to check my altimeter setting once we reach the final approach fix. So whether my altimeter would read 2000 once we fly over Rebo, like the chart is displaying, so I know that I am in sync with the chart and that I can actually safely rely on my further descent without hitting any obstacles or terrain. That's the idea. Thanks, campers, for the good luck wishes. Now, this particular flight bags Slant Alpha flying, to be honest. We fly from the Santa Catalina Vortec all the way down to, or all the way to the east to the Oceanside Vortec. And then from the Oceanside Vortec, we're going down to the Mission Bay Vortec, and well, perhaps even before we reach the Mission Bay Vortec, we're going to get vectors to get ourselves aligned with the localizer runway 27 approach. Now, we're not obliged by PilotEdge to fly the full localizer approach, so we're going to get vectors most likely, and that means usually when you get vectors, it's going to be a kind of a traffic pattern like vector scheme. So well, the inverse of 27, the downwind leg, will be 09er. So I guess somewhere around Victor 23, once we reach Mission Bay Vortec, we will get assigned a vector 090, and then a 180 for the base leg, and then I guess some 45-degree angle onto the localizer 27 approach. So that's what I'm expecting. We got a few step downs here, which is always nice practice. We got our DME on board, so we can use that as well. So I am going to run the let me see, I see something I noticed is that my GPS is not displaying on my real sim gear device here, but we'll have to see whether that will work in just a sec. Either way, I'm not going to really rely on my GPS. I think this is a perfect Slant Alpha kind of flight, so that's what we're going to do. Anything else important? Well, what is important, or important, interesting at least, we've got perfect flying weather today. Not really IMC, well, it's VMC, but perhaps we're going to hit some clouds where we can just fly through as IFR flight. We do can make use of a obstacle departure procedure for Santa Catalina, and that's interesting. So that's a departure procedure that can actually help us to avoid any obstacles or terrain. Departure, thank you, takeoff minimums. There you go, already circled it. Avalon, Catalina Airport. And what does it say? For runways 4 or 22, the winds favor 22 today, or at least they are variable. That's what the METAR reads, 6 knots or so. Climb straight ahead to 2300 and then proceed on the course. So in other terms, get up, above the terrain and then do your thing. So that's what we're going to do. We are not obliged, again, to fly the obstacle departure procedure when we are in VMC, or when ATC is not explicitly instructing us to fly the ODP. So we could also, just because we know we can see the terrain, we can just do whatever, but let's just stick to the departure procedure. Yeah, I don't know why, just because for the sake of doing one. I think obstacle departure procedures are really, really great, so let's just incorporate one for today as well. Any hot spots for this flight that I'm aware of? Well, one thing that I noticed flying then a bit slant alpha, I filed slant golf, is the switchover point. So because we're flying from one vortex to the next, this is Victor 27, I guess. We need to switch over from using the Santa Catalina vortex, flying away outbound from Santa Catalina vortex towards the Oceanside vortex, and at one point we need to switch over, at least usually on a map, and that's indicated, I mentioned it in the previous stream as well, by this symbol. So 31 nautical miles from the Santa Catalina vortex, or 20 nautical miles prior to reaching Oceanside, we should switch over, in this case to the Oceanside vortex, because we're flying to the east. Which is important for getting reliable reception from the vortex. When you're flying GPS, you don't care, but because we're flying with our needles here, we will take that into consideration, which is nice. And from Oceanside to Mission Bay, we actually got the same the same kind of consideration, right, in principle. Now, you don't see any switchover point here. In case you don't see a switchover point, you just take half. So if we take the ruler, boom, 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 and we take about half, that would be around 15, 16 nautical miles. So once we are 16 nautical miles outbound from the Oceanside vortex, at least in my mind, when we're going south, then we can switch over to the Mission Bay vortex. So that's something that is interesting. And yeah, the final approach trick, altimeter sync. Hopefully I will remember to do so. Now that's what's on my mind today. And again, we're departing from a non-towered field. That's the particular challenge for the I-8, how to depart a non-towered field IFR. Because there is no tower, we'll get a release for departure and a void time. So we need to depart. Actually, the airport is closed for IFR traffic, or is reserved for us, our single pilot airplane here, for some time, a limited amount of time, so we can take off IFR, and knowing that we will not run into any other IFR traffic in that time. So that's new. We already practiced this, but I'm hoping that I will succeed doing that again in this flight. And yeah, as soon as we are in the air and switch back from the CTAF, we'll say, hey, approach, we are airborne now, and then I hope we just get instructions to proceed our flight plan, to execute our flight plan and go to Santa Catalina, and then move on to Victor 27, onto Victor 27 over to Oceanside. Now, this particular routing is not mentioned on the I-8 rating page. This is actually a tech route. So if you use the database, again, the tech route database that I've shown in previous streams as well, also in 4Flight, it just mentions it's the coastal routes 56, I believe, at 5,000 for piston aircraft. So this routing was just prescribed to us as GA aircraft. So that's the one that I will fly. So hopefully we'll, once we get our clearance, IFR clearance for today, we'll just get a cleared as filed kind of approach, because this is already what the ATC controllers like us to fly. But we'll have to see. Okay, so that's a summary of my flight. It's going to be good, I hope. Put some music on. Alrighty. Okay, so let's get going. Yeah, let's fasten our seatbelts here, because we always do. It's a bit weird. I was thinking about just ending, or not really deciding on ending the project. The Uncertified Pilot project will continue for a long time, I hope. But the primary mission was to get instrument rated on PilotEdge, and we're just just 3 I ratings away from doing so. and obviously that will then continue with other content, but it's a bit weird. I envisioned becoming instrument rater on PilotEdge for 2 years now, and then once you finally reach it, it's a nice feeling. It's like, okay, if you put your mind to something and gather around experts via the chat like you guys, you can actually learn some serious stuff. It was really, really fun, but the idea that I will complete that primary mission is really, really cool. Taxi, good to see you, buddy. Thanks. Wes, good to see you as well. Good evening to you too. Okay, yeah. Close the door. Parking brakes are set. Slide vest important. We have, let's pretend that we have fire extinguisher, doors closed, windows closed. ELT is set to auto. Flight flap lever is up and our flaps are up. My mixture side deck is working. Throttle as well. Trim is set. My fuel tanks can set to both. Cutoff is in. Alternate is in. Avionics are off. Lights are all off except for the beacon. Master switch is off and my magnetic switch is off and my side deck panel is working as well. Thanks for the follow, Alpha. Thanks, welcome on board. My radio stacks are off and everything seems to be just fine. No circuit breakers that are out, even though they are not interactive at all here in this current 172. Let's pretend that we do those checks. Battery on. What kind of fuel do we have? Well, it's not really in balance. Well, it is kind of, and good enough for me. So that's more than enough for us to make this flight. You can hear the electrical gyro spool up. Let's turn on our avionics. Immediately look at the transponder, it's off, so we're not transmitting some old squawk code, so that's important. Let's turn on our flaps. We're not going to do a walk around, but I do like to see whether my flaps are working and go down in sync. They do. Let's put them up again. Then let's turn on my radio stacks here. GPS is working, luckily. That's what I'm noticing. My Windows start bar is not hiding automatically, which is weird because I didn't change anything. Automatically hide. Yes, please. It was still on. And why is the start bar of Windows not automatically hiding? So on here on my Real Sim Gear GNS, I'll still see the Windows bar just overlaying my GPS, which is a bit of a bummer. But again, not that important. Yes, so database is up to date and we got good readings and we got satellite reception. It's virtual, but that's fine. And yeah, here's the island. AVX. Just for situational awareness, we're going to put that up. Hey Kim, good to see you. Hope you slept well today. Okay. COM1 is on. Annunciator messages look fine to me. That's good. We're going to set that soon. We're going to set that as well. 11 degrees, that's fine. No moist, so no pitot heat. Never put your pitot heat on the ground because the pitot heat actually relies on some airflow because otherwise it gets far and far too hot and it can actually damage itself. So you only put on your pitot heat once you are in the air or just before takeoff. Everything on no circuit breakers popped out. That's good. Avionics off again. We can start up this baby. So throttle a bit in, fuel pump on, throttle in, positive fuel flow. 1, 2, 3-ish. Off. And again, parking brakes are set. No one is walking around. Who? Someone is taxiing there. Is that AI or not? Interesting. I don't think that there's a Learjet or a Citation flying here on AI, but on the island, but we'll have to see. Okay, we're primed and clear a prop. Back to both. Mixture full in. Let's get the throttle back to 1200. Oil pressure is already in the green. Volts, but not anymore. We can see a rise in the ammeter. Alternator is on. Let's lean for ground. Rise RPM, and there's not a drop yet. It's getting. Yeah, there's the drop. So lean for ground to prevent our fouling of the plugs, spark plugs. Back to 1000 and we allow that engine to warm up. Avionics on again, then mode C. So here we are, ADC, still VFR, that's okay. And we can set some frequencies. Well, what do we need? Well, it's not that exciting, but that makes it fun. Santa Catalina. Again, let's use that same order. I confuse myself when flying Slant Alpha, to be honest, because I don't know what frequency I set on what nav, and I should just get into the habit of using the same scheme. I mentioned this in the previous stream as well, which doesn't prevent me from, again, still confusing myself, but let's see if I can be a little bit more systematic going about this. So 111.4 for Santa Catalina on the nav 1. Switch, that is 114. It's still set, that's perfect. So then for the nav 2 we need the ocean side. VOR 115.3. 115.3, there we go. That's set. We don't have a reading yet. We should also check nav 1 here. That's identified as Santa Catalina. Good. And we can keep nav 2 on so we know when we got a reading, which is nice. It's just a cue or an audio reminder. Then for the standby, if we go down to from ocean side, we go down to mission bay, we can then set in the standby of our nav 1, we can set mission bay, which is 117.8. No, I didn't say that right, I think. Yeah, 117.8. 117.8 in standby, very good. And then we will hopefully fly the approach. Local approach. I didn't show you this chart yet. My gosh, as part of the briefing. So this is the localizer runway 27 approach into San Diego Airport. Oh, I did show you the chart. Never mind. So what do we need? We need 110.9er. 110.9er in the standby of the nav 2. Now we don't receive any glide slope information here, so flying it on the nav 2 is fine, I guess. No, it's not. And why not? Because we need DME for this particular approach. We could also mess around with the radials coming in from Poggy. So if you don't have DME, or if you like to be very, very safe, you put in these redundancies and measure DME while you're going down and the radials. So in case either one fails, you still know where you are. But that's not what I'm going to do. But we do need DME, and I only have my DME connected to the nav 1. I cannot switch in between those. So I'm reliant on my nav 1. So I will, once we come near to San Diego, I will put my the localizer 0.9er into my nav 1. So I got that reading as well. Yeah, that's about it. So that's navs. Then frequencies. We need obviously some ASOS here, and we still got that set. Nav 2 or COM2. We don't have any reading of the COM2. I think that was indeed something that we messed around with in the previous stream as well once we arrived here at Santa Catalina. Excuse me. So what we can then do is also set the ATIS of San Diego already. 134.8. Okay, we can already set that one. Perhaps we cannot really read it just yet. No. And then we need the COM1s. And what do we need? We need CTAF 122.7. That's currently already selected in the active COM1. And we need approach, or departure actually. And that's 127.4, as you can see, which is also still set, which makes sense because we arrived here IFR. Very good, so we can switch to a departure and get our clearance. And then we're ready to go.
213, contact Los Angeles Center 133.20.
Lower that volume. If the volume is too loud, guys, let me know.
Correct.
I believe it's fine, but still. What are your guys advising me? Kim, also look at the crossover point for nav. Yep, already discussed that. Yep, let's not have another dive bomb at San Diego. I will fly today, but I won't know. Taxi, come on, you need to fly, man. Dust off those flight skills. I know you haven't been flying for several weeks, and that's not the way we do it. Hope you find some time to fly soon. Alright, so we are pretty much set. Not entirely, by the way. I didn't complete my flow. 24 is not in sync. 24 on my heading indicator. There we go. My altimeter setting. We don't have the ASOS here as a read, so let's just look at the airport elevation, which is 1602.
Yeah, I heard you and then I answered somebody else and forgot. Contact departure.
So something
Santa Barbara departure,
like that.
the Skyhawk 4452, missed approach on 25. With
I'm not going to reset my attitude indicator because I think we are a little bit pitched because of the hill.
Well, I'm
now
going
we're ready to go.
Approach and then head over to San Luis Obispo.
That's 4452. Expect further clearance. 1905. Time now 1847.
1847, 4452.
So-called departure, good day. Skyhawk Papa Hotel Tango Mike is on the ground at Catalina, IFR to San Diego for the I-8 rating today, please.
PHTIM, SoCal approach, stand by.
Alright. And again, if ATC is saying stand by, don't reply with yes or roger. Stand by just means shut up, I'm busy. Engine is already warm, enough for taxi at least, let alone power check.
Number 6 Echo Charlie, turn right heading 010 when able to see direct Paradise.
Let's see if we get an S file.
010, that is Paradise, 6 Echo Charlie.
Here it comes.
Delta 213, contact
No.
open center 127.45. Have a good one.
Joe, give me some clearance to get to San Diego. While we're burning virtual fuel. Also looking forward to fly on FS Economy, by the way, guys. Not that it will really make a lot of a difference, but it's nice to, you know, earn some money and save up some money to get my own virtual Papa Hotel Tango India mic on the network. Why is it taking so long to get our clearance? I did file it. I didn't do anything weird with my filing. And it's too soon to remind him, so let's just wait. He just forgot. Do you think him? Do you think? Let's give him 2 minutes. Why is my iPad display not in sync? Boom, boom, boom. We're not in sync. Why is it shifted? Not that it is a big deal, but I don't like when things just change on their own accord. Well, something like that. He's just busy. Thanks, Hammer. 17 pilots, my gosh. 13 is ELA. Okay.
Charlie, contact Las Vegas approach 118.4.
Now, come on, Joe. Otherwise, I will remind you. Don't have all day.
Las Vegas approach, Bonanza 329er Charlie at 10,000 on the Cresto floor.
And 329 Charlie, Las Vegas approach.
Left the seat taxi.
3030.
Not good for an I-8 rating.
You have the airport in sight.
He doesn't sound
Yes, we have
pissed.
the airport in sight, and we have Victor.
Charlie, ClipEdge approach, runway 19er right.
Visual approach for 19er right, enter Charlie.
Circle departure, Sky Papa Delta taking the mic on Catalina with the weather, IFR to San Diego for I-8 if you've got the time.
HIM, yep, it's ready to go. Clear to San Diego Airport, as filed, maintain 4,000, expect 5,000, 1 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 127.4, squawk 5541, hold for release.
Papa Delta Tango the mic is clear to San Diego as filed, climb to 4, expect 5 after 10, 127.4 for departure, squawk 5541 and hold for release.
PHAM, read back right. And advise ready for departure.
Well advised, Papa Delta mic. 5, clear again. Messing around with my transponder here. 5, 4, 1. Thank you. All right, there we go. If I was ready for departure. Yes, which is important because remember, we just talked to departure, which is cool, but we are flying on an untowered field. So it's not that approach or the departure will actually make us taxi and make sure that there's no other VFR traffic, right? They're just governing IFR traffic. And that's a really important thing to consider. There could still be VFR traffic, but once we depart or arrive, we know that there's no other IFR traffic in the neighborhood, so the field is for us, reserved for us, IFR. Hammer, thanks for the follow.
18.75.
Okay, so we switch back to CTAF now, ready for departure, which is good. Parking brakes released, brake test is good. Also, I figured out why my sims started in the previous streams. That's because I set some high settings when I was not streaming and I was flying. And when I'm streaming, I cannot run that high settings, and that's why it stuttered. So I don't have a separate streaming computer, so I just need to downgrade that stuff. Alrighty, runway 22. We don't have any significant winds here. Well, seems they're coming again. We've got a tailwind here. The winds were variable on the METAR, but it seems like we should actually depart from 4. Well, chosen 22. Let's hope we can make a safe departure with a tailwind. All right, didn't look. Yeah, there's my turn indicator, slip indicator works, heading indicator works. Everything is stable. Very good. Engine is still warm. Woohoo! Okay, so that's clearly AI. Thanks, fucker! Alright, so obstacle departure procedure. So we're gonna go straight ahead 2300 and then we so it's about 700 feet climb, and then we're gonna proceed to Santa Catalina Vortex and as filed. So it's gonna be not that difficult, I think. Yeah. All right. Park. Again, engine is warm enough. 1800, no annunciator messages. Pressure is good, vacuum is barely good, but it's good. Left mag. Good enough, drop, barely. And right as well, and it's comparable, that's good. Let's go idle. Still no initiated messages. Oil pressure is still good. Vacuum is not, but that's fine. Back to 1000, very good. 1 notch of flaps, landing lights on, strobe lights on. I'm getting a bit tired with my toes here, so let's do some parking brakes. And what are we going to do? Again, nav 1 is set. We are going to fly right towards, which is going to be a little bit northeasterly, I guess. Already identified. I think it's not that difficult. Patrick is going to fly some autopilot for this flight. Yeah, we are ready to go, I think. Okay. Now, this is important. Before I am ready, but it doesn't mean that the airport is ready. There could be other VFR flights here, especially here in Catalina. There's a lot of AI traffic. So if I see someone on final, I mean, VFR traffic is not going to bother with my IFR release. And if we get a release for, let's say, 5 minutes, so our clearance would be void if we wait 5 minutes on the ground, we can then re-ask or ask clearance again. But if there would be 3 VFR pilots in the pattern, for example, it would be better for me just to wait until they are landed and then ask for my release, because ADC doesn't like to shut down the airport IFR for 10 or 15 minutes. So I don't see any VFR traffic, I think. They could be in. So I consider that as a check, and that means now that I am going to ask for a release. Socal departure, Skype Hotel Tango Mike is only short 22 at Catalina, ready for departure.
Papa Hotel Tango and Mike release for departure, clearance void if not off in 3 minutes. If not off in 3 minutes, advise intentions this frequency not later than 6 minutes. Change to advise frequency proof.
Papa Hotel Tango Mike is released for departure, and we'll and clearance is void after 3. We'll let you know, Papa Hotel Tango Mike. Okay, so 3 minutes we have. It's 48 on the clock. Landing lights, everything is on. I agree, double check. No one is there. Now, we need to switch back to the CTAF now, because we're playing game here. So, Catalina traffic, Skype Hotel Tango Mike is departing runway 22 for a straight out departure to 2300 and then towards somewhere. Catalina. Alright, mixture and everything is on. I do see a helicopter now at the back end of the runway. Now that's the advantage of flight sim. Full power. Alright. Engine is good, RPMs are good, pressure is good, airspeed is alive. Let's continue. 40. 50. 60. Rotate. There we go. Push down my nose just a tiny bit. There's the reading of Oceanside. Let's switch back. 3 minutes already quickly went by, almost. Again, obstacle departure procedure, 2300. We got visual, so we can turn if we like, but that's check. There's our turn. Socal departure, Skype Hotel Tango Mike is airborne, passing through 2400.
PHJM, Socal departure right there.
And there's the flash for Papa Tango Mike.
PHJM, radar contact over Santa Catalina, VOR, climbing 5000.
Over the Santa Catalina Vortec 5000, Papa Tango Mike. He said over the Santa Catalina climbed to 5000, so I wasn't really that precise with my readback. 1.2. We got 4 initially. I'm flying on my GPS for reference, but I should have actually flown like this, which is not far off. 0.8. Yeah, needle is already turning away from us because we're basically on top. So we can already proceed to
Santa Barbara
5,000.
departure. Cessna 4452 was after my hold. Was I supposed to just go direct
084.
to Morro Bay?
No, you're supposed to let me know when you're ready to continue, and then I'll get you a new clearance.
Oh, okay, I got you. I was waiting for you. I'm ready to head over to San Luis Obispo.
That's 4452, clear to San Luis Airport via direct Morro Bay, direct, maintain 4,000.
Okay,
084.
clear to San Luis Obispo.
Yeah, there's the from.
Bay, maintain 4,000, 4452.
Alright, we're in the climb. First, going to make sure that I'm on the right direction, but I think I am. Let's pick up the radial. We need to fly the airway, Victor 27 or whatever it is. We can pass through 4,000 to 5,000. Let's fly a little bit more to the left because we are already, well, 0.7 nautical miles away from the Santa Catarina vortex, so it doesn't really make that much of a difference. There's the needle. But I like to be a little bit more quick. Also in the previous stream I was a bit sloppy, not that precise, also with my altitudes and my needle. A little bit more coordinated, Tim. Keep that nose up. It was 84. So already passed on the heading. We'll take a look at the chat in just a sec, guys. I need to stabilize first here.
Charlie, where are you parking?
Something like this. Okay, so we're in the climb. We are reading 70.
Charlie, Roger, taxi parking via Atlantic.
70?
Taxi to Atlantic via Sierra Hotel.
It's 70. So a little bit of a gyro drift there. Good, 500 feet to go. Don't miss that, Tim. Speed is good, 6 degrees, no moist, so that's good. Fuel quantity is good. EGT, we can already lean. We could have already a while ago, actually. To be a little bit more efficient with fuel and better performance. That's too much. And don't skip the needle. $5,000. Let's do that first. It's bad timing to do the flow once I'm already approaching. Alright, EGT is looking good. No enunciated messages. Lights can be turned off, by the way. 5,000. There we go, push down. Let's pick up some speed here. Santa Catalina Island. Again, sloppy with the needle. Small adjustments. Alright, let's reset to around 2300-ish.
100 Tango Bravo to maintain 14,000. The biggest field altimeter.
A lot of forward pressure on the yoke, so let's relieve that pressure with some
14,000.
nose down trim. Again, still a bit off track there if you look at the needle.
Skylab 4452 has Oscar.
Thank you. 4452, do you have approach question?
Yeah, I'd like to do the VORA.
Still busy stabilizing, guys. Which shouldn't be that much trouble, but I'm noticing that I'm not stable. Could have run autopilot, but this is actually much fun. Okay, good. Goodish. Alright, again, 75, yeah, it's about 80, that's good. Altimeter setting is good. Attitude speed is good. We can set it to 5,000 so we know we're not going faster or slower than our assigned or filed speed, cruise speed, so that's good. Again, 5 degrees. EGT fuel flow is good, temps are good, pressure good, vacuum is good, amps are good, no circuit breakers, lights are good, power is good. And what are we doing? We're flying Victor 27. Checked.
Departure frequency 128.
Hey Jim, good to see you. Yeah, I'm doing well. Hope you're doing well as well, Jim. Blame the crosswind. Ah, yeah, Kim, that's true. 8 knots. Are you planning on doing these sky highs, Scampers? Well, I am at a certain point, but first I'm gonna start with the with my development for the 172. I'm really looking forward to get a hold of Blender, and also getting a hold of Kim, because he already knows some significant things about Blender and how to model things and make things interactive and stuff. So I cannot wait to fly my own 172 one day and do all the texturing and stuff. I really love that artistic aspect. I think I really love that artistic aspect of doing that. And then perhaps meanwhile the Sky High, I don't think I'm going to stream all those flights, but I am going to do some regular flights as well on FS Economy, and also stream those. But I'm not really sure how to continue after when I finish these series and when I got all of my I ratings. I have to see. Ah, good to know, Jim. Kim, no problem. Just call. Thanks, Kim. Yeah, or perhaps I can just visit you. Well, I guess I need to visit you at night, because at night you'll be awake and not by day. Don't know what's easier if you just like to have a workshop.
Context to Cal approach 128.1.
128.1, Papa Delta Mike. Come on, fly the needle, Tim. Circle approach, Sky Papa Delta Tango Mike is level 5,000.
Pablo Tango Mike, SoCal approach, John Wayne altimeter 3002.
02, Papa Delta Tango Mike. 0.
Bravo contact.
2.
Oakland Center 128.7.
Come on. I'm 1 dot away of the airway. This is not good.
Actually, I'm not sure which one at this point. Stand by 1.
Come on, focus. Again, 75, heading indicator is good, altimeter is just set. Speed is a bit on the low side. A bit more power, 5 degrees, fuel quantity, EGT, fuel flow, temps, pressure, vacuum, amps, circuit breakers, blah blah, lights, and we got our power set. What are we doing? We're flying the Victor 27.
Bravo contact, Oakland Center 128.7.
Trying to fly the radial, and we're waiting for the crossover points, which was 31. I believe it was 31 nautical miles. We're currently at 12, so still some way to go. What head tracking do you use, Tim? I'm using the Trek IR technology, so these sensors here. And it works perfect, actually. You also have the more advanced, the Trek IR Pro, which is powered, so you need to have a USB wiring as well, which is very, very irritating to wear. It's also a little bit more heavy. And it's even more unreliable. This thing works better, the sensors, at least in my case. So, and I didn't fiddle that much around with settings at all. But you need to have good lights. You really need to avoid any background lighting, sunlight, because that obviously interferes with the sensor. So those are some other external factors that you need to be wary of. I know that some of you also asked in the previous stream, I think,
Getting 106 Echo Charlie on
how to resolve those stutters with Track IR, but it doesn't really have to do with the settings. It has to do with your background lighting usually. Or if you have glass, if you wear glasses that can also reflect light, and it can mess up Track IR. So those are just tiny things. Kim, why are areas not showing on your 530? I didn't input those, Kim. So I'm just flying Slant Alpha today. So this is just for situational awareness. Let's see if we can pick up San Diego ATIS. Not yet, so I'll just keep the COM 2 on. We are on 16 nautical miles, so still some way to go. Let's double check whether that crossover point was indeed 31. Yes, it was 31. Let's brief the approach once we reach Oceanside. We still have some time.
That's 4452, report turning inbound.
It's a nice flight.
Report inbound, 4452.
It's the declutter setting, probably. I thought it always showed them. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's what you mean. I think I can mess around with that. That's the clear button, I think. So I can remove the decluttering. Perhaps I need to zoom in. No, I guess that's not the case, Kim. And this is also something interesting, I think, in terms of cockpit management or instrument management. Also with checklist readings, is that you can very quickly lose control if you're not flying on the autopilot, obviously, of your heading or altitude. So what you need to do is actually intermit, or how do you say that? Interrupt your GPS work or your checklist work with a very quick look at your primary instruments to know that you're still on track and not climbing too much or descending or making a turn without you knowing. So rather than just sticking to the checklist or saying, okay, I'm stable right now, and then I look at my checklist, and then a few minutes I'm looking at my checklist or my GPS, and then I look back at my instruments and oh my gosh, you can see I'm already making a turn to the left now. It's better to always keep looking at your instruments and back, not too fast obviously, or with the checklist, if you have the checklist, just to keep the checklist in front of your primaries so you can very quickly see what you're doing. And I'm still noticing that I'm messing with my headings and altimeters because I'm overly focused on doing something else. Now we really didn't have, or I didn't really have, took that much time to enjoy the Santa Catalina Islands. Well, we've seen it in the previous stream. I can already see the coasts of John Wayne. Come on, nose down. Some puffy clouds on top, but nothing IMC-ish. And that's also something that I'm looking forward to practice. I could, perhaps I'm going to do it with the I-10 or I-11, which, at least in my mind, the I-10 and 11 are going to be very, very challenging. And perhaps just to celebrate the challenge and also to at least record one fail for one of the I ratings, I'm going to set IMC. Because I'm flying real world weather, which is nice. But the weather's actually, has so far been very good at VMC or marginal VMC. I think VMC all the time. which is okay for IFR flight, but
Cessna 4452,
we've practiced also
Charlie
flying on
Echo.
instruments as part of my own training program. So it might be cool for the I-10 to do it in a complete IMC and to really fly to minimums and then pop out of the clouds and land. And the I-10 and the I-11 they look pretty daunting to me with missed approaches and diversions to other airports. But that might be really challenging and fun to do, and increases the chance of me failing, which might be very interesting for you guys.
6 Echo Charlie.
Yeah, that's true, Kim.
This year. Have a good day.
We can also just zoom in on our instruments, which is what most people do, but I mean, that's the advantage of having a sim. We can just set visibility to be very low. Alright, crossover point, not yet, 24 nautical miles. So up to this point we can still reliably make use of the nav1 of the outbound radial from Santa Catalina. But after 31 nautical miles we need to switch over to Oceanside, which you already set in an F2.
Cross runway 20 left at Lima, runway 20 right, close takeoff.
So let's set, what was it, 784 I think, 84 at the bottom. 84, yeah.
San Diego INTL information India. 2100 Zulu weather. Wind 030 at 5. Visibility more than 10. Sky conditions 10,000 broken. Temperature 14. Dew point -4. Altimeter 2992. Arriving runway 27. Departing runway 27.
I don't trust that. So again, even with real world weather, I noticed that for my flights I usually have 9 or 2 on the altimeter, and I usually got winds coming from 310 at 5. I also see it in the windsock, so something with my weather engine is not working. And again, emphasizes my need for Active Skynex for X-Plane. Because I hope I'm desperately in need of a realistic weather engine. Okay, let's do another check. 85, still in sync. Altimeter setting is good. Agitating their speed is still good. 5 degrees outside, so no moist, no pitot heat. Fuel quality is still good. EGT is good-ish. Fuel flow in the green. Temps in the green. Pressure in the green. Vacuum in the green. Ammeter in the green. No non-shaded messages. Circuit breakers are all in. Lights we don't need, except for the beacon and strobe. What are we doing? We're flying a radial Victor 27 to Oceanside. We are on track 5,000, 100 feet too low. Again, could have been a bit more precise with that as well. Still within limits though, but we already got India for San Diego, which is already the first step of preparing for our approach. We have plenty of time to do all of the rest of our approach briefing. I don't want to be more than 100 feet below. What's our changeover point? 29, so we're almost there.
Victor, Long Beach clearance. Roger, stand by. Actually, I don't see a flight plan fall.
Exactly, Kim, Steve. So no, which is fun. You can just fly your own aircraft, and it makes a difference. I mean, with the, obviously makes a difference. With the 172, you buy yourself a lot of time, especially with more complex departures or arrivals. Yeah, with the 172, you can easily catch up. Your mind can catch up with the procedures that you need to fly. Flying that same procedure with a Learjet or a bigger jet that goes much faster makes the actual rating also much more difficult. For example, with the I-4,
good evening, November 1128
the I-5,
climbing to
I believe it's the I-5, when we need to depart from Burbank and go to Las Vegas, the Burbank departure. Yeah, especially when flying Alpha, Stan Alpha in a jet can really give you a challenge. But it's fun that you can fly your own.
HCIM contact SoCal approach 119.6.
119.6 for Hotel Team Mike. Oh, 9.6. Again, why am I going down suddenly? We don't know. Circle approach, Skype Hotel Team Mike is level 5000.
62 Victor Victor, looks like you followed the rect. I'm going to have to get a route for you. Stand by. Bravo Hotel Tango India Mike, SoCal approach, Palomar altimeter 3003, advise weather and approach request.
I would like to fly the localizer 27 approach into San Diego, please, and got the altimeter.
BH10, Roger, expect that.
Thanks. Or thanks, yeah, it's part of the rating, so I can thank him, but it's just scripted. So, and usually this is not part of the rating. It's that's also what I like about the ratings, is that even though Joe knows that we're flying the I-8 and he knows that I should request the localizer 27 approach because that's part of the rating, he still asks me, like real controllers were doing, like he would do when we were not flying in I-8 rating. They say, what kind of approach would you like? We could have also been a little bit more proactive and already said, well, this is what we like to do. Oh wait, we're already past our switch over point, by the way. Which is interesting. If you look at our switch over point, I think this is 8.4. I set it already at the bottom at 8.4, so I would expect to have the exact same reading. In the middle, I mean, the needle, which is not the case, so... 264. 264. 25264-ish. There we go. That makes sense. Alright, so we forget about the nav1, we're now looking at the nav2. But it's in the from direction, that's not good. 264 at the bottom. Because otherwise we need to fly reverse sensing. 264, which we could also do, but it's confusing. So we're looking at the nav2. That means that the nav1 active is now redundant, right? We passed, so I'm just using a systematic here, I hope, of using my frequencies. So that means that I can now switch my nav1 to 117.8, which is Mission Bay, which is the next vortex that we're going to fly to once we reach Oceanside. And we already have a reading, I see, 38 nautical miles. Let's double check again. 75, 70. No, not 75. Well, it's not that much of a difference. Altimeter set, speed is still good, 5 degrees. Fuel quantity, EGT, fuel flow temps, pressure, vacuum is good, amps are good, lights we don't need. What are we doing? We're flying still Victor 27, but now on the nav2. Getting a little bit off. 5,000. Already got our approach request in. And once we're near Oceanside, then I'm going to prep for my... Well, we could do that already. Is the IFR check ride allow max 50 degrees of altitude? PPL is 100. Is IFR more strict? Yeah, it is. I think it is more strict, but I think for the check ride it is strict. But I think for regular IFR flying, same goes for well, with a PPL VFR. I think you don't have real. Well, it's also true with westerly or easterly VFR altitudes. I think it's 300 feet. So outside of the check ride scheme, you can be 300 feet below or above your target or assigned altitude. But during the check rides, they really like to see that you need to demonstrate that you are precise. And so as this I-rating, I perceive these I-ratings to be check rides. And very, very apparently, I am not able to stay within 50 feet in terms of altitude here. Which is perhaps a bit too strict. I don't really care that much, to be honest. But like now, I don't like to be farther than 100 feet below or above. So that's something that I can still improve on, and that's my remark also in this stream, but also in the previous stream, that I should be a little bit more precise. I remember the old days in Flight Simulator 2004, I think, or even before Active Skynex and all that stuff. You can just trim and then it just stays exactly on that altitude. This is much more realistic. So I noticed that at some point...
1128, contact SoCal approach 119.6.
I just feel a dip and then suddenly we go down, even though I didn't change anything in the power settings or in the trim. But I do need a little bit trim up at the moment. Alright, let's line ourselves up again.
Enjoy your day.
Good enough, and let's prep.
Yeah, it's definitely getting there. I didn't notice anything specific.
Localizer. Circling not authorized, in-up, lights, increase, yeah, doesn't apply to us. Missed approach, climb to 2500.
Approach, good evening, November 1128 at 5000.
Doesn't apply to us. Or doesn't apply to us. We're not going to fly missed approach and the chances are really low, but it's good to see. So 2500. Then mission bay radial. And we need to fly holding patterns if we can even reach that. Usually when we do a missed approach with a 172, you will most likely, especially in VMC, get some pattern instructions. Localizer. So we're going to get vectors. We don't have to fly the full approach. So it's going to be just plain old traffic pattern kind of vectors. So 090.
PHCIM, correct mission bay.
Correct mission bay. Thanks, Papa. Doesn't work. Okay, mission bay. So already set. I didn't identify this thing just yet. I should not do this at the same time. Let's first get ourselves aligned. One task at a time. Looks good. And where is my mission bay? It's there. Again, let's listen. Hope you guys can hear it as well. Yep, that's identified. Good. Alright, so we got a shortcut, that's nice. Or shortcut, we were already quite close to Oceanside, but still. Alright, continuing our briefing here. So 090, the inverse of 27, obviously. And then we're going to get a base, so that's going to be 180-ish. And then prior to that, we're going to get something of an angle of 30 or 40 or whatever. And then we're going to capture the localizer. Prior to Rebu or O'Kane, perhaps.
60 Victor, thank you. I'll have that for you in just 1 second.
We already got India. So step downs, basic. We go down straight in 27. 608 for our category, alpha category, air, cute little 172.
124 Alpha Golf, 7 ground, correction 7 tower. Enter a left down, runway 29.
Visual descent point. So that means that we cannot go down earlier than the minimums, even if we have the airport inside. I believe. I'm always confused by that. So only after that point, I think we can. Yeah, only after that point, after Uber, we can continue our descent. even though if we have the airport already inside, that has to do with obstacles. So that's important. And because we're flying a non-precision approach, and we'd like to, we should actually also time our descent, so we know when we can expect to reach the missed approach point, and we can execute the missed approach procedure. But we got VMC here, so that's not really necessary in our case. But I'm looking forward to practice that in the next ratings.
Then fly heading 200.
Also stresses the fact that we need to fly a particular speed, or we can interpolate these tables, for example for 80 knots or something. From the fixed approach points, final approach fix to the missed approach point, we know how much time that will generally take us. Richard, thanks for the follow. I appreciate that. Welcome. All right, so that's our briefing. In terms of the airports, there's one general aviation ramp, I think, which is over there, circled already. So we're coming in from 27 here. So yeah, the sooner we can get off the runway, the better. And that's about it. What we could also do, by the way, is set 110
Charlie Bravo.
0.9er. That's our localizer frequency already in the standby of nav1. So we can switch. And let's do another flow check. 1, 2, 5. No, we already got some gyro drift, so there we go. Altimeter setting is still good, speed is still good, temperature outside with no moist, so no pitot heat. Fuel tank, fuel quantity I mean is good, EGT is goodish, fuel flow temps, pressure, vacuum, ammeter, circuit breakers, no non-shaded messages. Lights are all just fine still, and what are we doing? We are flying towards Mission Bay Direct, which we are right on the money, and we already prepped our arrival, our approach. So I think we're good. We got the weather. I think we're ready to go. I think we're prepared. You might get the south side as well. Oh, okay, interesting. Okay, well, we'll have to see. Usually it's too loud, so when I turn it down a bit, it's harder to hear the Morse code. Ah, yes. I know. The Morse code is also low volume on my side here, but it's difficult indeed to get that leveled. Straight over Mission Bay, okay. Well, we'll have to see. It's going to be exciting to see what Joe is going to do with us today.
I'm 62 Victor Vic. Long Beach ground, runway 26 left, taxi via Bravo. And
still going strong.
Foxtrot, cross runway 26, correction, Bravo Foxtrot Delta, cross runway 26 left at Bravo.
Nice weather. There's the coast. Could we make it in? Could we make the coast when we have a engine out? I think so.
That's Victor Victor, I'm sorry, I forgot the Juliet's there. Via Bravo Juliet Delta, disregard the crossing.
Going good. Oh, really, Kim? My gosh. Yeah, I think Joe, but he's on the network so many times. I think he gets bored, or sometimes I think he's just eating or drinking or getting away from the computer or something. He's always doing something. I also hear Twitter notification sounds in the background. I can imagine for him that he's doing also other stuff, and then he often, not really often, sometimes he makes some mistakes. The one thing that I do like about that, I also had a potential incursion, a potential crash into another aircraft when I was granted permission to take off at what was it? Saint Louis Airport a year ago, and there was actually someone just on short final, not AI, but obviously Towered Airport, and I just looked outside and I saw someone else coming in, and I said, oh, there's another aircraft.
128 flighting 120 to maintain 3,500.
And he said, oh, just wait, just hold short for just a moment. And I was glad that I looked outside. And those kinds of mistakes also happen in the real world. So that's the human factor for you. So I also kind of enjoy the fact that he sometimes makes mistakes, so it makes us be more proactive. So I don't really, I'm not bothered at all
76 Las Vegas Tower, runway 26 right, clear for takeoff.
with his mess ups, if you can even call those mess ups. I guess you can, but alrighty then. Mission Bay, yeah, 16 nautical miles. It seems like it. If we look outside, you can see already the Mission Bay. Yeah, what do you call it? Mountain stuff. I always associate San Diego now, this area, with the Cat 11 rating. Man, I was so excited, also anxious to complete my Cat ratings, my PPL, virtual PPL on PilotEdge. I was so focused back then, but that was really, really fun. Also for the first time hit my 50 viewers count on stream. That was a really nice celebration.
Runway 128 fly heading 090.
Fly heading 010 November 1128.
0.
Yeah, taxi, exactly. Yeah, I guess all the controllers just mess up sometimes.
90, 0, 9,
which is part of the deal.
0, eastbound.
Is there 0990 November 1128?
Alright, 1-3 and a bit. Seems good enough to me. Altimeter, speed, temps, fuel quantity, EGT fuel flow, oil temps, pressure, vacuum, amps, circuit breakers, lights. Just wait for just a sec. We're still leaned. And what are we doing? Flying direct to Mission Bay. Hoping that Joe will give us some vectors to 090 or something like that, which is the downwind leg for runway 27 in a descent, I guess. Perhaps that's a bit too early.
60 Victor Victor Lone Star, runway 26 left, clear for takeoff. Same call.
Some turbulence here. Light turbulence. Yeah, if I pass this rating, then we got 2 ratings left. The I9 is I9 rating is retired because
Remember 1128 turn left heading 270 on runway 24 localizer.
it relies on a procedure that is not there anymore or something like that. I don't know quite the story. So we skip the I9 because it's not active, and we go to the I-10 and then the I-11, and then we completed all of the I ratings, and I earned my virtual instrument rating here on PilotEdge.
1976 Las Vegas departure, radar contact.
All right, anytime now. any time now. Well, perhaps he's just gonna fly me over to Mission Bay and we'll go to the south side. It's fine.
We're 1128, 4 miles from Escon. Maintain 3,500 till established local cleared ILS runway 24 approach.
I-10 is one with the hold and DME right?
Maintain 3,500.
No, that's the I-11. I think that's the I-11, Kim.
462 Victor Victor, contact departure.
There's San Diego.
Departure Diamond 62 Victor Victor 2,100, climbing 3,000. I'm 62 Victor Victor, SoCal departure, radar contact, climb and maintain 4,000. Climb 4,000, 60 Victor Victor.
Give me a vector, Victor. Roger, roger. The I-10 is the diversion. It's doing a mist, then a hold, and then diverting to another field. And the I-11
and departure for 60 Victor Victor. What's
is the
your
arc.
Current altimeter setting? For 60 Victor Victor 3005. 3005 2 Victor Victor. And we're 2 Victor Victor passing 3,000. Flighting 070, climb maintain 9,000.
Now, because the Mission Bay VOR
HCIM flighting 090, back to final approach course.
090, Papa Delta Mike. And vectors for the final approach course. That's good.
2 Victor Victor, you copy? Say again for 2 Victor Victor.
As expected, a downwind leg.
2 Victor Victor, fly heading 070 and climb maintain 9,000. 070 up to 9,000, 2 Victor Victor.
Nice airport there to the left, on 10 o'clock. Let's put our landing lights on. Now we're in more crowded airspace. We're not really interested in the Nav1 anymore, at least we are, but not in the Mission Bay Vortec anymore. So let's switch it to the localizer, there we go. Because it's a localizer, the OBS doesn't do anything, it's just
contact Palomar Tower 118.6.
one radial.
Say again on the frequency?
But just for our own sake, for making stuff a little bit more clear, let's just put it to 27. And what we can also do, look at the charts.
Actually, I'm not. Just distraction.
Tower, Lindbergh Tower is 118.3.
118.6.
Over to 118.6 over.
Perhaps we're going to get assigned to another approach controller.
Victor, clear direct thermal. Clear direct thermal to Victor Victor.
We'll have to see. We don't have a read of the localizer. I'm curious though. If we can have a Morse code.
128 Palomar Tower, runway 24, clear to land, wind 320 at 3.
So the localizer again is a very narrow
19875 Santa Barbara Queen
radio
Airport on departure flight runway heading. Radar
thing.
Queen.
And that's why we don't have a reading. Same with ILS. So as soon as we're pointing towards the field, towards the ILS, or the localizer system thing. Then we get a reading.
1,000, 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency is 120.55, squawk 3035.
Hey, Finish! Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. It's going well. So Nun Tower, it's IFR departure, and now we're getting into San Diego on the localizer 27 approach. This is it. We're now on vectors.
Boeing 9875, that's Santa Catalina, Sierra X-ray Charlie, then Seal Beach.
090, so downwindy, and we'll get vectors to the final approach fix. Or something prior to that. That's the idea. This is the profile view.
And where you park? Boeing 9875.
That's what we're doing.
Contact Santa Barbara ground for taxi. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said you were ready for taxi. DHTIM contact SoCal approach 119.6.
We're already on 119.6 for Hotel Mike.
That's because I gave you the wrong frequency. 124.35.
124.35. Thanks, Bob. All right, no tower then. 124.35. I could have done this a little bit more smart, but.
76, just wonder if we missed a call. We're sitting here, flight level 190. 190.
Yeah, 1976 contact Los Angeles Center 133.2.
33.2, thanks, man. I know you're busy.
Circle approach, Skype Hotel Tango Mike is level 5000.
PHIM, SoCal approach, spec localizer 127 approach. The Lindbergh altimeter is 3006.
06 for the altimeter, we expect localizer 27, Hotel Mike. We already knew that, but hey. Yeah, so now the standby I can set. What was it already? 118.3. 118.3. Good.
Yeah, 1976 Los Angeles Center, good morning. Climbing tank level 320. From 128 taxi parking the Alpha, have a good day.
Now, another thing that I should do. Oh, no. I was thinking about the misapproach, which I should actually be more aware of. I should have been already more aware of in previous streams, previous flights, but especially in preparation of the I-10 and the I-11, where we're going to do misapproaches. I do also need to have set the missed approach VORTEC. We usually fly to a VORTEC and then do some holds.
66 Los Angeles Center, good morning.
But the Mission Bay VORTEC is part of the missed approach for the localizer 27, and that's already set in the standby of NAV1, so I already got it set. Straight up 2500, I think, was the first step of the missed approach procedure. Alright, still 090 is same on the heading indicator. Altimeter was 06, and I didn't change that. 06 is important. We expected the localizer 27, so we're not cleared for the localizer 27. So that means that I'm not going to set the local altimeter of San Diego just yet. Speed is okay, temps, fuel quantity, EGT, fuel float, oil temp, pressure, vacuum, EMS, obviously no circuit breakers, lights are already on, we're still lean, that's good. And what are we doing? We're flying a vector, and we can expect localizer 27, already brief, we got India, and yeah, we know our step downs, hopefully. Also in the NAV1, we already got the localizer set. Is that verified? 110.9er, we can double check. 110.9er, yes. We already have a DME, which is interesting, because we don't have a reading on the NAV1. I guess that those are two separate things. Let's do NAV1 Morse. No, I don't hear anything, so I think that's not realistic, I guess. don't know, perhaps the DME is an entirely different system and also not hooked to the Morse code identifier thing of the localizer, but still flying the downwind, already past San Diego. With the 172, it takes some time. So soon we're gonna get a vector 180, I think, which is the base. And we're not gonna fully complete the base because somewhere halfway we're gonna get assigned something like 240, so that we fly onto the 270 wish localizer heading and capture the localizer and execute our landing. Come on, 200 feet too high. Ah, we got a reading on the localizer, that's good. Finish of your practice mission project? No, I didn't, but for the next I rating finish, I have to. It's part of the rating, so I'm really looking forward to incorporate that. And also for practice sakes, for excitement sakes, I'm gonna fly it in IMC and see if I can film myself for one of the ratings as part of the Uncertified Pilot spirit. I think it's good that I'm really challenging myself and also well, push myself to the limits and increase my risk of actually failing. So I'm going to hand fly it. I am going to use the GPS, I think. Perhaps not primarily, but in IMC. And it includes the missed approach. I think also with the I-11 rating, so it's going to be exciting. Now, I do like to get a vector, if that's okay. We're flying 09er for quite some time now. Nav1 is on, or COM1 is on, I mean. It's a bit weird that I don't hear anything. I don't see any RX readouts on my COM1. So it's not a volume or headset kind of thing. Happened to me once, which was really, really exciting. I was doing a VFR flight on my own. And the network, PilotEdge network.
1976 to 70 at Jamie 5 arrival.
The PilotEdge network, the voice thing of PilotEdge went down. And we did radio calls. But the controller, there was something, I believe it was the controllers who, well, it was a very special case. And then all pilots in the ZLA area turned their Morse codes to 7,600. There's a 172 there flying just below us. 7,600 and we diverted to a field, which was really, really fun. And then Keith, 30 minutes later, tweeted out like, oh my gosh, we had a problem with the PilotEdge server, sorry. But it was really, really fun actually. It's a long load record, just keep going. Yeah, Kim, but I expect for vectors, I'm getting...
You know, the 1976, I just gave that to you. You didn't hear it? Send me a Jamie 5 Bravo.
Bring it on, like Donkey Kong. I want to have my vectors to 180.
Yeah, I'm turn right heading 180.
Right, 180. What does he make?
R2 Victor, contact SoCal approach 135.4.
You ask,
135.42 Victor Victor.
and they'll answer. Tower is already set in the standby.
SoCal Crew.
What a
approach
beautiful
Victor
scenery
Victor,
here.
Level 900,000.
Should fly in the
Victor
San Diego
Victor,
area,
SoCal approach Clemency 11,000,
San Diego area
Ontario
more
3007.
often actually.
Climb maintain 11,000, 3007 to Victor Victor.
It's gorgeous here. Alrighty. Slow but steadily. Finished, by the way, the new VHF simulation reading. It is finished. It's really, really cool. And it's sophisticated as well. It's not just a mere noise thingy that they just added to all channels, but it is actually dynamic. It's calculated based on distance from the actual transmitting relay systems that are also pinpointed to the exactly same location. So
PHA answer calls from Vida, fly heading 240, maintain 3,800 till established, correction 3,500 till established localizer. I had it right the first time, 3,800. Cleared localizer only 27 approach.
240, 3,800 and cleared for the localizer 27 approach. Hope that's working. Alright, 240. Go down. Until established. We're cleared, so we can set 292. Although, yeah, I'm gonna set it 2992. I mean, it's been some time when we got our ATIS that perhaps the ATIS had already changed. Okay.
987 Santa Barbara ground, runway 25, taxi via Bravo Alpha Golf.
50 nautical miles away. 3,800, he said. Now playing Lost. You have a song request. Yeah, Tyson. There comes the localizer, by the way. I should pay attention. 3,800. We're now established. 27. Oh, 3,800. We're at 14. That means that we can already descend to 3,600. There we go. It's, by the way, 275. Should have checked that actually. 275. Come on. 3,600, Tim. 12.2. We're at OK. Keep up our speed. It's a Bravo class airport, so let's pretend that we got jets behind us. It's 12.2 already, so 2,700. For 8.7. So far so good. We're going down.
United 196 contact Los Angeles Center 125.27.
So let's increase the mixture, because if we stay leaned, we actually
76.
choke our engine. Still on the localizer, going down. High speed, but who cares?
Yeah,
As long as we
1976 Los Angeles Center, Palmdale, altimeter 3018.
2,700. It's kind of like a dive, actually. And if you guys were referring to this, but... And we're going fast, but... 2,700. There we go. Waiting for 8.7. For God's sake, don't forget the altimeter check. Tim? For once, please. For once. Oh, I'm descending through 2,700. 8.7, or we can already descend. Okay. A little bit bashed through that. We're now going to go to 6.5, and that's the final approach fix for 2,000. 2,000. 6.5, 2,000. And then we might also get a call from Joe. Go to tower. Don't forget the altimeter check.
PHCIM, contact limit tower 118.3.
Over the tower, Pop Delta Mike. Switch. 2,000. Fly the airplane first, mother. 6.9. And Limerick Tower, Scarborough Delta Mike is on the localizer 27 approach with India.
Papa Delta Mike, Limerick Tower 127, call land 1 call.
Clear land 27, Pop Delta Mike. I checked the altimeter. Yay. Bit off. Okay. We're gonna go down to 680. Could have descended already earlier, by the way. 680. And we should get down. Actually, let's see visual.
We set that clock.
Why do I set the clock? Oh, that's true. For the non-precision approach, yeah, it does make sense to set the clock. But as I announced already, with visuals, the visual of the airport, it's not really that necessary. I'm going really, really fast. All right, let's go down. 680. Until 2.9.
975, runway 25, ready for depart.
680, my, it's an amazing dive. My gosh, especially when going this fast. On the localizer. Man.
Flight 97875, Santa Barbara Tower, runway 25, south, wind 0808.
Okay, still on the localizer. 680, there we go. 3.2, we should remain here, even though I got a visual. I'm gonna stay here, let's reduce our speed.
1976, contact Joshua, approach 126.1.
2.9. There's 2.9, we got visual, so now we can descend. Strong wind from the right, it's gonna be a fun crosswind landing. Reduce our speed here. Okay, flap 1 is okay. Push down on that yoke. Again, our desired parking spot is over to the right. I think my scenery is not really properly set. I believe there should be more buildings here, but perhaps I'm wrong. Alright, second notch of flaps. I see some power lines here, by the way, going by. Which I should really overfly. Please. Another notch of flaps. It is a beautiful airport. Alright, crosswind landing. Let's stay a little bit to the right side this time of the center line. So we buy ourselves some time here to transition to our forward slip. Here we go. So we're not aligned with the runway. Left rudder and right ailerons. A little bit more left rudder. Ah, that was not pretty. But we're down. Whoa! That was a that was a hill on the runway. My gosh. Did you see that?
19875, contact departure.
No departure, 9875, zip.
Man. But we're on the ground, guys. Still right ailerons in.
19875, stand by departure, radar contact, flighting
Man.
140, climb maintain 8000.
We're at Charlie 5. Boom, on the ground. 1,000 in. Let's lean for ground. Something like that. Put our parking brakes, landing lights off, strobe lights off. We're still with tower. Ground is 123.9er. 123.9er in the standby already. Flaps are up, everything is cleaned up. Okay. And Limburg Tower, Sky Papa Delta Tango Mike is clear 27 at Charlie 5, taxi to the general aviation parking.
Hotel Tango Mike, taxi parking via Charlie, and that'll be a pass for the I-8.
Via Charlie to parking, and thanks for the pass, Papa Delta Tango Mike.
United 1976,
Yes.
contact Joshua approach, disregard.
There we go. No monitor ground, so
Actually, go
let's
ahead and
get
do it.
going.
Contact Joshua approach 126.1.
Congrats on the dive bomb achievement. Yeah, now I know what your guys were referring to. I thought dive bomb, I mean, it just looked like an ordinary localizer approach, but no, and especially when I'm going that fast. Yeah, it's indeed quite a dive bomb.
1976 Joshua approach Palmdale, altimeter 3018.
And I didn't forget to do my altimeter check. I'm so pleased. And what saved me was I repeatedly reminded myself, and I knew what to expect. I knew that Joe was going to distract me with the switch to the tower, because at the final approach fix, a lot of stuff happens. I already did my final approach check, so that was a check that was cleared away, done.
19875, contact Los Angeles Center 135.5.
The only thing that I noticed that I was looking at my chart for the final approach fix, DME and altitude a couple of times, when I should have actually just memorized that. Because at that time, with that speed and doing a lot of stuff, you shouldn't be looking at your chart anymore, I guess. I also felt generally more comfortable with flying the step downs, I noticed. And the thing that really helps is obviously the DME, which I didn't have before in my 172 when I was doing my IFR training here on X-Plane.
0.9875 Los Angeles Center, turn...
Don't go to Aspen then, alright.
Proceed direct Santa Catalina, climb maintain 1000.
Yeah, but the way you're flying, the JS takes a lot of attention. Yeah, that's true, because I'm going that fast, but yeah. Yeah, and I think it also is experience, Kim. I just need to fly these approaches more often.
Number 62 Victor Victor, SoCal approach, Palm Springs altimeter 3019.
And again, brief the approach, but also memorize the approach. So I felt comfortable before we came in, like, okay, I know what's expected of me, but the final approach fix and stuff I should remember. And also the minimums. I was looking at the chart to look up the minimums again while I was already approaching the minimums. That's not good. And that's something where I really need to memorize stuff and not just brief stuff. And yeah, that's actually the main thing. Alrighty. General aviation ramp. Thanks, Scotty.
2 Victor Victor, that's correct. Fly heading.
Next up, the I-10. Can't believe it. The I-10. My gosh, I was
180 radial. North.
So weird.
Cross thermal at 1000. Correction. I have to get you lower. Actually, stand by. Disregard.
Beach Barons here.
Can you take the approach from Baldy? It's actually meant to be taken from
Landmark
Baldy from that
aviation. No, let's not put it in between here.
Baldy, Bravo Alpha, Lima, Delta, India.
I think my scenery settings are actually okay. It seemed like I was missing buildings, but...
Baldy, cross Baldy, at 1000, cleared RNAV,
all right.
31 left approach. And just be sure you go all the way to
Wingtip to wingtip.
turn there. A lot of people try to turn final.
Almost. There we go. Boom. Well, we're not really that nicely aligned, but I think it's okay.
Montgomery clearance, Cessna 215.
Parking brake sets. Again, 1,000. Transponder off. Back to VFR. Let's switch off our radios. And
1976 contact, SoCal approach 134.
avionics off. Mag tests. I can see a drop on the RPM, so I know my mags are still working. It's off. Master switch off. Batteries off. Let's reset the trim. Could have done that already during taxi, but hey. Off. On. And there we go. I-8 in the pocket. I'm so happy. Yeah. Alrighty then. So, again, a quick brief, and then I will show the landing. ATC, perfect. Altitude and heading management again could have been more precise. So I think I feel fine when I'm 100 feet plus or minus my target altitude. But I failed to do that a couple of times. I was still legal, but hey. Also with the needle in the beginning, I was still a bit off, so I could have been much more assertive, correcting for the needle. And that also goes then for my heading, but I think it has to do perhaps also with winds and stuff. But I could be much more precise with that. And then yeah, the approach. So it's not just about briefing the approach and becoming familiar and comfortable with the approach. It's also about memorizing some stuff of the approach, so you can just load that up in your working memory while you're doing all kinds of other stuff. And especially around the final approach fix, I shouldn't be looking at the approach plate anymore, I guess, because I'm so busy, and especially with a high speed and lots of stuff going on. That's not a good thing. So yeah, memorize stuff, especially the minimums. I was looking at the chart to reread the minimums, and that's not necessary. I should have already memorized that. Same with the final approach fix and the DME and the associated altitude. But I did remember to check my altimeter, so that's good. Yeah, so pretty pleased. Pretty pleased. PilotEdge disconnect. Let's have a look at that landing, which also had a nice bump. Oh. Yep, that's the crosswinds. San Diego in the background. Coming in. So a bit gusty winds. So yeah, and then transitioning to a forward slip. There we go. But I was still veining to the right. So yeah, I had too much aileron, much too much aileron. And that was the bump. Ouch. Yeah, it's a bit weird, this bump. But let me just see one more time. So I was transitioning. Still on track, still. Right rudders. Or left rudders, as you can see. But I was now turning to the right. Yeah, so too much aileron. Look at that angle, it's far too much. Finish, think about it. Up-teen seasons from now might fly in here in a 737. Yeah, and also now I'm skidding a bit around the runway. Look at that angle here on the... Yeah, so this was not pretty at all. Crosswind landings are hard, but hey. Look at that, my gosh. Yeah, that bump shouldn't be there, taxi. No, I think it has to do with the mesh. It's here. So yeah, you can see it on the runway, but it shouldn't be there, obviously. Where are we? Oh, we're there. Yes, come on. Yeah, thank you. It's always nice to appreciate the 172, but again, guys, 2 I ratings left, I-10, I-11, and then during the Christmas break I will continue my other parallel series, developing my own 172, high detailed, highly interactive with all kinds of new features for the sake of my own pleasure, by the way. Not that we need another 172, I mean the default 172 is fine as well, but I can make it better, I think. But just for the sake of just developing an appreciation for aircraft development and understanding, painting, texturing, I will continue that series. I completed my plane maker stuff and the physics part of the 172, but now I'm going to do the 3D modeling, and I will show everything I do, stream everything I do on that part. So if you're interested in that, an entirely different kind of overlay, kind of streaming theme, but I cannot wait to do that. And eventually fly my own 172 in X-Plane. Thanks, Ronald. Yeah, I guess so, Scampers. I guess so. Is Mr. X? Yes, Taxi. It is. I don't have this issue. That's weird. Well, I downloaded the ortho, which is also a great download, by the way, guys, of the org, the photoreal download org thing of Forkboy on the xplane.org site. Provides torrents, legal torrents, where you can just download, I think for the US, but perhaps even also in Europe by now, any tile you like, and it's optimized. These are optimized photoreal ortho tiles, also with the blended textures, so the water, the actual water of X-Plane blends with the ortho photos of the water, which makes a gorgeous, gorgeous scenes. Also the grading, the different gradings with the tiles that you perhaps remember from my previous streams have all been corrected by him or her. And that download also includes mesh data, and perhaps that mesh data interferes with Mr. X's mesh data. I'm not quite sure. Zeal 16, yeah, that's true, Taxi, but not around the airports, I believe. Around the airports it's 18, I think, and 16 at non-airport areas. But I'm flying with it right now, and it's I think it's much better than I had, so I'm really, really pleased. 17, okay. Of all PA syllables, yeah, I totally can understand that, Kim. Yeah, that's also some expansion that I'm considering, but I don't have the hard drive space just yet to do the US expansion for PilotEdge. But there's so much to do as a 172 pilot here in the Southern California area. And there we are. All right, let's set it in. Thanks for the follow. Turn, thank you. Yeah, what did we actually do? We have flown 85 nautical miles in 56 minutes. $56? Man, I have a memory, no memory I have, and that's the entire problem. 56 here and 85. I don't mind all of the other measures. I was solo, or yeah, with 30 people on board. Instruments, cross-country, remarks. I-8 rating in the pockets too. We are on a roll, or on a glide, or something aviation like. Alrighty then. 287 hours on PilotEdge since the very first flight on PilotEdge. When I was a noob and started my VFR flying, and I took 2 hours to just start up the 172. Really, really cool. Okay. Yeah. That's it, guys. I-8 rating in the pockets. That means 2 ratings left. The I-10 and the I-11, which are very complex and very challenging. Missed approaches, holds, diversions to other airports. And to top that, I'm actually going to fly those flights in IMC, like a proper IFR pilot. So the risk of me failing is increased. So if you are excited about my content and excited about my progress, and especially if you are excited about me failing on stream, then be sure to check my Twitter or my Discord and stuff and jump aboard during my next flight. I guess sometime this week, not tomorrow, but perhaps on Thursday, where I'm going to start the I-10. Really, really excited about that. And then the I-11, perhaps that weekend. I'm away that weekend. Well, I guess I can find some other time to do the I-11 still, because then around Christmas, I'm going to continue that 172 development project. Blender, 3D modeling, texturing. I cannot wait. So exciting times ahead. Thanks again, guys, for your presence here. Taxi and Kim and Scampers and Ronald and everyone here. I appreciate your presence as always. Cozy co-pilots and also some very valuable advice. Alpha, thanks for the follow. Hammer, Richard, Turn, and Without Permission, thanks for the follows. Appreciate that. Welcome aboard. Guys, have a great evening, at least here in the Netherlands. The evening is already upon us. Have a great day and hoping to see you very, very soon. Happy flights and blue skies. Bye.
Palm Springs Tower is coming. Hotel Tango, Mike is 10 miles over 3000. Information X-ray for full stop. Heading 1-3 left if that's available.
Hotel Tango, India Mike, Palm Springs Tower, squawk 6250.
6250.
Hotel Tango, India Mike, Palm Springs altimeter is 2985, radar contact about 10 miles west of the Palm Springs VOR. Presently landing runway 31, so requesting straight in for 13.
If that's available, yes, please.
Correction, Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike, make straight in runway 13 left and clear to land. Wind is 0905.
Clear to land, runway 3 left. Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike, thanks.
Palm Springs clearance plus 4658 is type PC12 land call request clearance to Vegas S file.
This 4658 Palm Springs clearance. Good afternoon. Unable to give you S file. I'll be forward stepping. Plus 4658 is cleared to Las Vegas Airport. VFI Cathedral 1 departure procedure to Palm Springs. Victor 370.